under the auspices of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research India, with a clear vision to connect, collaborate, coverage, and convert for global sustainable development. I am Dr. Maria Judith Gonsalves, Senior Principal Scientist at CSIR NIO, and it is my privilege to moderate today's session. This year is especially significant as CSIR NIO celebrates its Diamond Jubilee, marking over 6 decades of pioneering oceanographic research. Since its establishment in 1966, CSIR NIO has been at the forefront of exploring India's vast seas, from studying marine biodiversity to advancing technologies for deep sea exploration and sustainable resource use. Today's session reflects India's leadership in marine science and technology, showcasing innovations that strengthen ocean health, support sustainable livelihoods, and advance the global blue economy. Today, we have a distinguished panel of my colleagues from CSIR NIO who will share their groundbreaking works across various facets of oceanography. I encourage our audience to continue to share their queries in the chat box, which will be addressed at the end of the session. Besides, those interested can contact the speakers directly by email, which will be shared in their presentations. I now invite Professor Sunil Kumar Singh, Director, CSIR NIO, to give the opening remarks. He will provide an insightful overview of exploring oceans and empowering the nation. Sir, the virtual stage is yours.
Somebody should confirm.
Yeah, we can see that, but put it on the full screen. Yes, it's fine.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, once again. And I'm going to give an overview how ocean is important for human being, mankind, or the people who are residing on the earth. What are those important aspects where we are looking at National Institute of Oceanography? How we are going to do the exploration of those resources, which will be empowering the human being, the nation as a whole. As everybody is aware, 2/3 or more than that of the earth is covered by ocean. And oceans are very much important for the people, for the earth in many aspects. Just for example, you can see the oxygen which we are breathing, almost 50% of that is coming from ocean. So you can imagine how important ocean is. It regulates the climate. In India, we have the monsoon climate. It is because of we are sitting just around the Indian Ocean. The whole economy of country is getting regulated by the Indian monsoon. In addition to that, if you see the local drivers of our study, the different kind of living and non-living resources which are there in the ocean, for example, fishery or different kind of minerals. The trade which is happening all over the world, I think more than 80% is happening through the ocean. The shipping is very important. Transportation is very important. The tourism which ocean is very, very important. So considering all these aspects, ocean research is very, very important for the human being. And in coming future, it is going to be much more important. That's what we are going to highlight. So when we are talking about the ocean controlling the climate, some of the aspects I'm going to show you. Here I'm trying to see the global ocean current, which is very, very important to regulate the temperature of the globe. So you can see here, as everybody is aware, most of the solar insolation is coming around the equator, whereas the polar regions, because of the obliquity, we are getting less solar energy. Because of this ocean current, the equatorial heat is getting redistributed all over the Earth. The equatorial warmth is going toward the polar region, and coldness is spreading all over. In addition to that, it is also spreading or redistributing the oxygen and nutrient all over the ocean, which is very much important not only for living resources but non-living resources also. So what is happening in the polar region, like say in the North Atlantic, deep water is forming because of low temperature and high density because of snow formation. Deep water, the density is increasing, it is going down, and at the deep water, it's coming toward the equator, and further it is moving toward the Antarctica, making a circumpolar current around the Antarctica. Part of the deep water is coming to the Indian Ocean, part of that is going to the Pacific. And again, it is swelling in the Indian and Pacific Ocean, coming to the surface, and the red line is showing the surface water, which is coming from Pacific to the Indian Ocean through Agulhas, and then, Indonesian through flow, and through Agulhas current it is going back to the Atlantic. And in that process, the whole, this ocean current is getting completed in 1000 years, and it is redistributing the heat, energy, oxygen, and nutrients, which, as I told, it is very, very important for both climate perspective, the temperature perspective, or for the productivity perspective. Another thing which I wanted to tell you that this is also, suppose because of some reason, if you stop this ocean current, the whole heat distribution or temperature equilibrium will be disturbed. The polarization will be getting more colder and colder, and equator will be becoming warmer. This has happened in the past. I'm not going to talk about that. Another very important aspect of ocean is the earlier process which I showed you, it is controlling on the longer time scale, where this pump, which is working, the biological pump and physical pump, it is working on a shorter time scale. So because in the Arctic zone of the ocean, a lot of productivity is taking place, and because of that, the phytoplankton is growing, and phytoplankton will be eaten by zooplankton, and then fishery will eat, and part of the. So during the phytoplankton production, because of photosynthesis, the CO2 is getting fixed in the upper ocean, and part of that is going back to the atmosphere, and part of that is going to the deeper ocean, which is remaining there for thousands of years, where a very small fraction, 3 to 4% or even less, is going to the sediment, which is getting permanently buried, and this is the carbon which is going to the mantle, and this is permanent removal of CO2 is happening. Another pump which is having physical pump, so this is because of dissolution in the surface, the CO2 is going to the deeper water. Again, I told you it will be staying in the thousands of years. So once it is locked, it will stay for 1000 years. Where the part of the CO2 which is going to the sediment is going to stay there for millions of years in the mantle, and then it will be coming back as volcanism, which is the ultimate source of CO2. So this is the CO2 cycle which is controlling the Earth atmosphere. But this CO2 which you have buried in the sediment, because of our need like petroleum gases, we are taking it out, and this is the CO2 which is creating problem to the mankind, because this CO2 which was supposed to go to the mantle, we have immaturely brought it to the atmosphere, and hence this global warming and all those things are taking place. So this is very, very important. Now, in terms of Indian Ocean, Indian Ocean is slightly different compared to the Atlantic and Pacific, because Indian Ocean is having a low latitude land boundary. If you recollect, you can see Pacific and Atlantic is extending from pole to pole, where Indian Ocean is having low latitude land boundary. Because of that, the deep water which was showing, it is not able to go further north, and because of that, the supply of deeper water, and hence the oxygen is getting limited. And you know that the northern Indian Ocean, particularly Arabian Sea, and both Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal is having intermediate low oxygen minimum zone. And in addition to that, it also has many, many important unique behavior, because you see because of this monsoon currents, the seasonal reversal of wind is taking place. So during southwest monsoon, because of the wind direction, the Arabian Sea water is going to the Bay of Bengal, whereas during northwest monsoon, the winter monsoon, Bay of Bengal is coming to the Arabian Sea, water is coming to the Arabian Sea. Along with that, it is bringing sediment, etc. So that is impacting the biogeochemistry of the northern Indian Ocean. In addition to that, you see, we are getting huge amount of fresh water from Ganga, Brahmaputra in the Bay of Bengal, and also India is bringing also leading to this oxygen minimum zone in the intermediate water. And because of the southwest monsoon, productivity is very high. So because of that, when the organic matter are sinking, they are consuming whatever oxygen supply was there. As I told you, the deep water circulation, intermediate water circulation is already low in this area. So because of that, and this the organic matter production, all the oxygen is getting consumed and converted to CO2, getting remineralized. And because of that, oxygen content is very, very low in the intermediate water. Sometimes it is going up to zero also. And sometimes it is this is low oxygen minimum zone is touching the sediment water interface, and that is having very different kind of biogeochemistry, and it is impacting many other things, fishery, etc. I'm not going to talk about that. But then what is happening when the deep water is coming to the Indian Ocean, and then a part of that is upwelling and coming back to the means as intermediate water, and the surface water, which is the Indonesian through which is coming from Pacific, they are bringing warm and less saline water from the Pacific. So that is very much important for the Indian Ocean dipole, and with that is impacting your monsoon. And this water which is coming and going through the leave-in through Western Australia, and partly it is coming to the Western Indian Ocean, and then it is going through Agulhas, it is going to the Atlantic. So this is the whole circulation it's controlling. But this is the Pacific water which is coming to the Indian Ocean. It is changing the biogeochemistry. Also, it is changing the temperature budget, heat budget, and hence it is impacting the monsoon. In addition to that, you see the mountain-like structure in the Indian Ocean. So these are nothing but the hydrothermal region, where because of tectonic plate motion, our Indian plate is moving in northeast direction. So these are the place where new crust is forming. So this is the different Carlsberg region and southeast, this Central Indian region, southwest Indian region, southeast Indian region. It is defining the boundary of the plate, and this plate, particularly the Indian plate, is moving in this northeast direction. Part of that is still subducting this around the Burma Sumatra area. Sorry. And they are creating a huge amount of earthquake, and the tsunami you have heard about. So this is the region which is creating many of the geophysical processes operating in that, and because of that only this Himalaya has formed some time back, where Tethyan Sea was there, and that is very different kind of a story there. In addition to that, you see this hydrothermal areas, their new material is coming from mantle, and a lot of sulfides are getting precipitated, and they are the very important source of this high metal sulfides like rare earth and polymetallic, this platinum group elements. In addition to that, in the Central Indian Ocean, we have area where a lot of this polymetallic nodule has been forming, because of the deep water bringing a lot of oxygen in the whatever manganese is dissolved in the water. In presence of oxygen, they are precipitating as iron manganese hydroxide, and slowly in the crores of years, they are forming a potato kind of a structure, and they are available in the Central Indian Ocean, which is the basis of our deep sea mining and all. I will be coming back to that. So, as I told you, in the intermediate water of the northern Indian Ocean, oxygen is sometimes going to the zero, and this water is getting upwelled in the region, and many a time it is impacting our fishery, and every monsoon we are getting huge amount of fish kill, because this intermediate water oxygen is getting upwelled in the coastal area, and the fishes are running toward the oxygen area of the estuary, and then one fine morning they are thrown in the beach edge, and you can see this scene is very common every year in the Goa, where a lot of fish killing is happening because of this natural phenomena, oxygen minimum zone. So right now I was telling you how the ocean is controlling the climate, monsoon and all. But now what is happening, in the climate change scenario, now the climate is impacting the ocean processes, which I'm going to talk about. So, because of this, the CO2 is increasing and temperature is increasing. Because of that, our monsoon is getting impacted, biogeochemical cycle of the ocean is getting impacted. A lot of physical changes is taking place. Ocean currents are getting impacted. Extreme events are there. It is impacting the productivity and different kind of harmful algal blooms are growing. Primary productivity is changing. It is increasing the typical cyclone because of warming. So there are so many things are happening, which I'm going to talk about. So once the ocean has impacted the climate, now climate change is also impacting the ocean. How it is happening, I will be able to show that. And as I showed you, the ocean warming is taking place, and because of this low latitude land boundary, because not our Indian Ocean is not connecting to the North Pole, the water movement is restricted. Because of the heat movement is also restricted. Because of that, the warming is Indian Ocean is warming at a rapid rate compared to the global ocean. So if you typical global ocean is in that temperature rise is happening at about 0.11 degree centigrade per decade. Indian Ocean is increasing by 0.15 degree centigrade per decade, whereas Western Indian Ocean is increasing very rapidly, particularly Arabian Sea is increasing by 0.18 degree per centigrade. Significantly rapid temperature increase is happening, and because of that, the stratification is increasing. So because of stratification, the mixing is reducing and nutrient supply is becoming less. Because of that, productivity is going down. Many of the areas of Arabian Sea, the productivity, even Bay of Bengal is going down. Not only productivity, the ecosystem composition is also changing. You can see here 98, 2005 and 90, how the distribution of the different kind of ecosystem composition is changing. Earlier it was dominated by chlorophytes and diatoms, whereas now it is the cyanobacteria is increasing, prokaryotes are increasing, the prokaryotes are increasing. So this is a situation when long back, means billions of years back, when the Earth ocean was having very low oxygen, almost no oxygen, that time prokaryotic life was increasing, was prevailing when life started. I think we are a little bit in some patchy area, we are moving toward that, where prokaryotic life was increasing because of this climate change. So I can tell you that because of this climate change, productivity is going down, ecosystem composition is changing. So it is directly impacting the biogeochemical cycle of the ocean, which was earlier other way. Now I will be giving a little bit glimpse of about the different resources. I talked about the processes, which was partly it is happening in the ocean, and because now I'll be talking about the resources. So in oceans are rich of many resources, like living resources and non-living resources. So living resources, everybody knows about the fishery. Fish means our huge population are depending on fishery for their everyday needs and also the food. Whereas there are unknown areas, there are many less people are aware that we have very different kind of ecosystem niche areas where you have very useful molecules, metabolites, microbes are there, which can be utilized for pharmaceuticals industry or food industry or cosmetic industry, where similarly seaweeds are there, which are being utilized for the food and also for the many our daily needs. And non-living resources, when we are talking about, we have polymetallic nodule. I told you about metal sulfides and cobalt crust and energy. Ocean is having huge energy resources like tidal energy, wave energy, or salinity gradient energy, temperature gradient energy. So many things are there which we are trying to exploit. So when you are talking about fishery, the Indian fishery today, if you see, it has gone up to 18.4 million ton per year production is taking place, but majority of them is coming from the freshwater fishery, almost 14 million ton. The ocean is contributing only about 4.3 or 4.5 million metric ton. But this has gone a long way, because in the beginning, when we were talking about, say, in 1950s, our total production of marine fishery was only 5.5 million metric ton, which has gone up to 4.5 million metric ton. But considering the huge EG and our huge ocean, I think this amount is very, very less. And this is happening because of the human resource is not invested in that much regularly, and even technology is not up to mark. Our scientific intervention is very, very less in this zone. So even though we are having the largest, India is largest shrimp producer, third largest fish producer, fourth largest exporter of fish and fishery, but marine fishery, I think we have to do a lot, and because of, I think technological intervention is very much required. So there, I think a lot of work has to be done. In addition to that, I told you that it means different niche areas are having huge amount of potential to produce a lot of molecules and metabolites, which will be useful for our day-to-day activity. And many of it has been shown, like some of the sponge-related molecules, which has been found to be very effective to treat the hospital-generated infection and all. And similarly, actually, a number of molecules or other useful products which can be utilized, and I think our fellow colleagues will be talking about that. I'm not going to talk, but this is one of the area where only ocean has been studied only for maybe 5%, and so 95% still has to be studied. In addition to that, you see the ocean technology. Ocean technology, again, you know, the huge ocean, if you want to study it, is not possible to go everywhere by ships. And there, I think we have to invest a lot for the underwater autonomous vehicle, automatic vehicles, which can go without unmanned vehicles, which can go in different part of the ocean, irrespective of depth and area. And a lot of study can be taken place because of that. So this one of the robot which has been developed recently, coral monitoring robot. I think again our colleague will be talking about which this can go up to 300 meter and do whatever sensor you put, all the study it can do. It can be used for study the coral, or it can be also studied for the bathymetry analysis and all. So I'm not going to elaborate on that. In addition to that, actually, there are many non-living resources in the ocean, and you can see from the coast, if you go to the deeper ocean, you talk about the phosphorite, plasers. There are so many things. So India has scanned about 1.5 billion square kilometer. We have got almost say 300 and almost 100 million metric ton of nodule in this area. So this is one of the basis for our deep ocean mission. So again, somebody will be talking about gas hydrate is very important aspect, which is there in the about 1,000 trillion cubic feet of gas hydrates are there. Ocean energy, again, the huge opportunity there, where 80,000 terawatt energy is stored in the ocean. Huge potential is there. India is having, again, huge potential of this energy resources, which can be utilized and which will be very, very useful for that. So I will stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that truly comprehensive overview. It's clear that a blue economy is not just an aspiration, but a necessity for India's sustainable development. Our first speaker is Dr. Nasim Thakur, Chief Scientist, CSIR NIO, who will speak on how valuable products like bioactive compounds are being developed from marine organisms with uses in healthcare, agriculture, and allied industries. The topic is useful products and bioprocesses from marine living resources. Dr. Thakur, the floor is yours.
Yes, can you see my slides?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Judith. So I'll be talking about useful products and bioprocesses from the sea. So how we can discover these useful products and bioprocesses? You can see this first panel of right side, that is a marine bioprospecting. So what we do, we visit or we carry out the expedition to the ocean, and we do sampling by diving. We go and collect the samples during low tide. Also, we participate in the cruises and discover the new marine organisms or their compounds or molecules for this purpose. So by doing this, Further, we apply different modern techniques in the field of marine biotechnology, and we develop product and process. And this is contributing to a larger umbrella of blue economy. You can see this blue economy where there are different pillars, and marine biotechnology is one of the important pillars of blue economy. So what are the applications of these marine nature products? You can see here the marine nature products are useful for pharmaceutical, healthcare, nutraceutical, and various industrial processes as well as applications. So coming to marine living resources, what are these marine living resources which we find on which we can explore for the product and processes? So marine living resources include everything, all living organisms, including bacteria, fungi, those are microbes, then algae, seagrass, mangrove, and animals, not only in marine environment, but also in the estuaries, estuarine part of it. So these are all marine living resources. And if you consider our country, that is India, we are having Arabian Sea this side, then Bay of Bengal and complete Indian Ocean. The total coastline is more than 11,000 kilometers, and the exclusive economic zone is also very, very large. So almost 14% of the population of our country is living along the coastal districts. So at National Institute of Oceanography, while doing this marine bioprospecting and developing products for industrial applications, these are our resources generally we consider, or we have selected resources like marine invertebrates, very much important for this application, cold ship and deep sea biota, then microalgae and macroalgae, invertebrate associated microbe. These are very special because there are many cases where the novel molecules have been isolated from this particular source, then extremophiles. And these are our focused areas. First one is the therapeutic molecules. We discover the molecules for various healthcare applications, then functional foods and supplements, natural pigments, biomaterials, microbial enzymes. So these are our focused areas, and these are our resources for marine bioprospecting. So now coming to marine microbes, generally marine nature product drug discovery or marine nature product discovery application is hampered by the less amount of the material or the resource material or the source material. We cannot take large amount of material from the sea for industrial applications or for commercialization purpose. In that kind of bottleneck, our marine microbes play a very important role, because once we isolate our microbes from, say, extreme environment, we can grow them, we can culture, and finally by using fermentation technique, we can grow in large quantity. You can go for 10,000, 20,000 liter culture and isolate the molecule of desired molecule of your interest. So these are all applications of metabolites which are discovered or are being discovered at our institute, also in our country, in various marine biotechnology research groups. These applications include drug molecules, pigments, biopolymers, and cosmetics. And at CSIR NIO, we have these kind of technologies or know-how available. So we can culture deep sea microbes up to 5,000 meter depth. We can collect the sample and we can culture these microbes under the pressure, because we cannot culture normally the microbes which are living at such a depth. Then we have a facility and expertise for genomics and proteomics studies, fermentation technology of marine microbes, then marine natural product chemistry a laboratory which is existing since almost 30 years. And finally, we are doing this bioprospecting of all marine microbes. Coming to microalgae, the microalgae is actually a green gold for biomanufacturing. There are a lot of studies going on for the diversity studies or ecology study of microalgae, but very less focus on the application part of microalgae. So these are our sources: seawater, sediment associated with plants and animals. And we discover or we develop the products from microalgae for all these applications: drug molecules, food pigments, cosmetics, and biomaterials. So what we do, we culture the microalgae in the laboratory, that is in closed door cultivation, and also outdoor culturing of this microalgae for extraction of these precious molecules. So coming to seaweed, actually our sister laboratory of CSR, our NIO's sister laboratory in the CSR system, CSIR, CSMCRI Bhavnagar, they are having expertise in developing various products, and they have developed various technologies. but our expertise lies in the suitable site identification for seaweed farming using oceanographic data. So what we do, we provide scientific guidelines for sustainable seaweed culture by identifying suitable cultivation site by using oceanographic data and the expertise which we have in the field of oceanography. So this ensures the optimized productivity while maintaining the ecological balance. That is very much important. Also, we develop some products from seaweed. So coming to animals for biomolecule discovery, if you see earlier, the marine natural product research were focused mostly on marine invertebrates, and sponge is one of the important organisms in this discovery, which contributes almost 80% of the molecules which are in the market as well as in clinical trials. So these marine animals or the invertebrates are very much important for, again, healthcare applications as well as the biomaterial, which is emerging area in the field of marine natural products and animal feed. So these are the technologies or know-how we have with us. That is the culturing of marine marine animals, then mass culture of organism in open ponds, then rearing of commercially important species. Here, I would like to give you example of seahorse, which is commercially important species because it has a application in healthcare or the medical application. So we have completed 3 generation rearing of this particular seahorse. You cannot catch seahorse from the nature because there is a ban. This is endangered species. For that purpose, we have developed this technology where we can cultivate or we can culture the seahorse in captive condition, and this particular expertise which we have. So what is the strength of CSIR NIO in this particular field? So presently, more than 25 scientists are involved in marine biotechnology research. So these scientists are working on developing different products as well as processes. More than 200 publications related to marine biotechnology in last 10 years. More than 50 national and international patents are filed and granted. Marine microbial culture library, that is a very unique culture library which we have. More than 4,000 unique microbial cultures which we have. These cultures are from various locations, including the deep sea, for 4,500-meter depth in the Central Indian Ocean Basin, then coal seeps or the methane seeps. These are the extremophiles, which are, I would say, chemosynthetic microbes, and also associated with different organisms, different sediments, seawater microbes. So this library is available for screening to discover new and new molecules of the products. And then finally, the marine natural product repository. So we have more than 1,000 marine derived metabolites with us, which can be screened for new and new applications. So these are our potential leads or the technologies which are available at CSIR NIO. First one is a cyclic peptide. This particular molecule, antibiotic molecule, is isolated from the sponge-associated bacteria, but now we are culturing the sponge-associated bacterium in large fermenters and we are extracting the antibiotic molecule, which is having application in the treating the hospital-acquired infections. And this is working far better than existing antibiotics which are in clinic. Then type 2 collagen from jellyfish. This is cysteine-rich collagen having application in nutraceutical as well as in wound healing. And this is very special or unique technology which we have developed. Otherwise, this jellyfish is creating nuisance, and this is just a waste material fishermen are throwing. But we have developed this collagen, which is a high-value material. Then water-soluble chitosan derivatives for biomedical application. Beta-carotene and fucoxanthin. I was talking about the marine microalgae, which is an important source, or I would say the gold mine for this kind of discovery. So we have some pigments isolated from marine microalgae. Then algal oligosaccharide. These are dietary sugars as prebiotics. Then extraction of potassium chloride KCl from seaweed biomass. This is also very much important. eDNA adsorber. This is the environmental DNA sampler or the sampling device. Then Marine Microbial Consortium, we have the formulations of Marine Microbial Consortium for various bioremediation application, including hydrocarbon degradation. Then PHA, that is biopolymer production we are getting from marine bacterium, and we have already given the samples to various industries to check the applications. And finally, the 3D printing printed material for immobilization of bacteria for bioremediation. So these are all technologies available with us for technology licensing or handholding for further commercialization. These are our collaborators. I have divided these collaborators in two parts. One is that 10 industries are working with us in this particular domain. And the right-hand side, you can see these are the all institutes where we are having collaborative programs to develop marine natural products for various industrial applications. Also, we have international collaborators, the universities and the institutes all over the world working with us for discovering the natural products for industrial applications. Thank you very much. If you have any query, you can contact us by using these contact details. Thank you so much.
Dr. Judith, mute, you may remove. You're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Thakur, for that marine byproducts. It's amazing to see how the ocean can be a source of so many solutions for medicine, industry, and more. Now, as we continue our journey into the deep, our next speaker, Dr. Abhishek Saha, Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO, will take us to the ocean floor to explore the hidden treasures that can fuel our future. His talk is titled Non-Living Resources, Fueling the Future from the Deep. Dr. Saha, we look forward to your insights.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Judith. My slides are visible?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So, good afternoon to all. So, I will be talking on the marine living, non-living resources and fueling our future from the deep. So, marine non-living resources are basically the abiotic materials. Ocean non-living resources include salt, hydrothermally formed minerals, FEMN crust, polymetallic nodules, crude oils, gas hydrate, etc., which are present in the sea floor. Generally, following mineral resources are extracted from the ocean and surrounding areas. In the ocean and surrounding areas, we have different kinds of heavy mineral like gold, tin, zircon, ilmenite, monazite, etc. These are found on the shore and these are called placer minerals. In India, we have around 11,000 kilometer coastline, and those are rich in this kind of placer minerals. For example, we have a high quality monazite deposit in the southern part of the Indian coast, which is called Kerala coast. These monazites are very good source of thorium and rare earth elements. Apart from that, we have phosphorite and gas hydrate in the continental margin. In the deeper part of the ocean, we have hydrothermal metal deposit, cobalt rich crust, FEMN crust, and in more deep, if you go, we will get polymetallic nodules in the abyssal plain. And this is a cross section of earth crust. And here we are trying to show how metal rich deep ocean mineral deposits are formed with respect to different geodynamic setting. If you see, the polymetallic sulfide mainly forms in the mainly associated with the mid-oceanic ridge or back-arc basin, from where two plates basically going apart from each other. And in the seamounts, we will get the FEMN incrustation. And if going to more, if we are going towards more deep, around 5,000 to 6,000 meter, we will get polymetallic nodules in the basinal part, which is basically the flat part. And sometimes hydrothermal deposits are also associated with the subduction zones or interoceanic arc. These are referred as volcanogenic massive sulfides. So the next question, why these polymetallic, why these non-living resources are very important. Now this diagram shows the overall increase of the different minerals like different elements like copper, manganese, nickel, cobalt, etc. And if you see, the prediction is that it will be increased many folds by 2030, and Indian demand is also high for these metals. At this moment, actually, India is not producing nickel and cobalt, and we are basically exporting the metals, but by 2030 it will be increased up to 32. It will be increased to 30 to 80 times. So basically, for combating with this increasing demand and to ensure the security of this minerals, these critical minerals are important, and the ocean resources are very good because very important for this reason, because they have a huge quantity of minerals. I will come to that. And if you see this diagram is basically showing how along with India is all the sales of electric vehicle is also increasing in India. So fostering the green technologies, including the electric vehicles, renewable energies, these resources are important. And right now, our industries are aligning themselves for decarbonization or low carbon emission to mitigate the climate change and global warming. And this will definitely help us to mitigate for our net zero target. And these two photographs, if you see, these are the extracted metals from the polymetallic nodules. Our sister laboratory IMMT, they are actually working in this metallurgy field for extraction of polymetallic nodules since long, and they have done this. They are our partner in this project. So these are the non-living resources of Indian Ocean and surrounding areas. If you see, as our director already mentioned, that we have placer in the shore, then we have gas hydrate and phosphorite in the continental margin. We have cobalt crust in the seamount at around 3,000 to 4,000 meter depth. We have polymetallic sulfide in the mid-oceanic ridge and Backup basin, that is also in something around 3,000 meter depth. And we have around 5,000 meter depth, we have polymetallic 5,000 to 6,000 meter, we have polymetallic nodules. So right now, our institute has worked in all the deposits, but I will be emphasizing on gas hydrate, hydrothermally formed metals, and polymetallic nodules, because right now we are working in these fields. And this is a map where you can see the deep ocean resources. So these yellow spots are basically the hydrothermal vents present in along the ridge and subduction zone. And this and India is having one contract in this area in southwestern Indian ridge. And these green patches are basically the polymetallic nodule field in Clarion and Clipperton zone. Many countries have already have their having their contract, exclusive contract, and India is having our contract. Means India has contract. We are the pioneer contractor, and we got an area of 75,000 square kilometer in the Central Indian Ocean basin for polymetallic nodules. So first I will come with gas hydrate. So NIO is involved in gas hydrate research. So this map is showing basically the pockets of gas hydrate rich areas. Mahanadi and Krishna Godavari basin is one of the most potential area for gas hydrates. Our people have done a lot of studies in there. Even Gulf of Mannar is also one of the potential areas. So we are doing seismic survey, we are doing geophysical modeling, water column imaging, organic biogeochemistry, and biological study also to understand the gas location, gas seep location, and their potential. So this figure is showing basically a gas flare in the water column from, and this has been acquired in Krishna Godavari basin. And these are the these white patches, white color things are basically the gas hydrate, methane hydrates recovered in the gravity core in Krishna Godavari basin. And these are the chemosynthetic organism which people have recovered from the cold seep sites, and these are very much indicative of the cold seep environment. Now I am coming to more deep, that is in hydrothermal activity in the Indian Ocean ridge. In many places, as I have already shown, there are several vents in this place, but we are right now working on the Carlsberg Ridge. We have studied Carlsberg Ridge from several years, and we have already identified 2 hydrothermal plumes over the area with the different kinds of pressure like turbidity and etc. And we revisited this plume site in between 2020 and 2023, and we have seen similar kind of high turbidity in that area. That means, and another anomalies are also noted in that site, and this implies that the hydrothermal activity continues in this area. And if you see the downpour variation, their magnetic susceptibility is high in some station, and their nickel content and other transition metal also content is very high, because these area are very rich in bismutal sulfides and the platinum group of elements. So these are the different stage for locating and characterizing the active hydrothermal vents. So we have already identified the hydrothermal plumes. Now we are trying to understand the location, and for that we are trying to use UV survey for locating the hydrothermal vents, followed by hydrothermal followed by the mapping of the hydrothermal mineralization zone and resource evaluation. And these photographs are basically showing the hydrothermal mineralization in the Andaman backup region, which is in the EZ of India. And this photograph is basically showing a wall rock of an hydrothermal chimney. And this is the pentlandite. Pentlandite is recovered from this basalts from that area. Pentlandite is iron nickel sulfide with a very good amount of platinum group of elements. So this area is also very much potential for hydrothermal mineralization. Coming into the more deep, we are having polymetallic nodules, and I would like to mention here that India is the pioneer investor for polymetallic nodules. For this kind of nodules, growth process is very slow. It takes 1 million year to form to grow 1 millimeter of the layer, and these are the prerequisite to form the polymetallic nodules. These form in very low sedimentation. When your sedimentation rate is very low, bottom current is very low, and it should have a hard nucleus and oxidizing environment. So this kind of nodule we are getting mainly in between 5,000 to 6,000 meter depth. And this one can see here, this is the plagioclase grain, and this is the sharp tooth, which basically occurs at the nucleus of polymetallic nodules. And we have done major work in this project since long. We have used different kinds of sampling gadget from boomerang grab, dredge, chain-back dredge, bed corer, Van grab. Right now we are using this ocean graph for close grid sampling, and now we are using our own shift for this purpose. And these are the general chemistry of polymetallic nodules. Right now we are trying to get 5 metals, but more specifically we are interested in these 3 metals: copper, nickel, and cobalt. And we have done bathymetry survey of more than 4,000 square kilometer, and in CIOB we have done sampling at 12.5 kilometer in the entire contract area. Nodule and associated sediment characterization we have done. We have done the resource evaluation for the entire contract area. We have demarcated the first generation mine site where our pilot mining will be carried out. And we have also surveyed for microtopography, AUV survey we have done. And this area, if you see, this is the contract area of India. This green area we have returned back to. This is basically reserved area. This is relinquished area, and it has given to ISA. But this orange color area is our contract area. So we have done the entire. We have done the resource evaluation and estimation, reserve estimation for entire contract area. These are the parameters which we have taken into consideration. And if you see in the mean concentration in the mean abundance in the area is around 6 kg per meter square. Average grade is 2.37, which is good. 3.37, and this grade is basically nickel, cobalt, and copper summation. And we have around 457 million metric ton reserve in this area. And we have also demarcated the first generation mine site in the area where we have optimized the grade and abundance, the topographic, these are the parameters, topographic slope and the mining life. And also these are basically altogether we have 6 cluster area, and the mean abundance of the polymetallic nodules in this first generation mine site is 7.71 and grade is 2.48. And total nodule tonnage is around 76 million metric ton. As I have mentioned, we have already done AUV survey in some parts of the test mine site because and this area is nearly flat area. This is a very high resolution map, and this is basically our future mining track. And we are also carrying because whenever we are going for mining or exploration or this kind of thing, one of the major important thing is the environmental impact assessment. So in NIO, we have a group, and they are basically doing the environmental impacts assessment in NIO. Post disturbance to simulate the ocean mining, and we have also collected the data, environmental data in the impact reference zone. And finally, in NIO, we are carrying out, this is our core strength. We are carrying out exploration of mineral resources at different depths. As I told, from short to deep, we are expert in bathymetric survey in shallow and deeper water. Different types of sampling we are doing, geochemical studies of the mineral deposit where we have done, resource evaluation and resource estimation, which we have already done for polymetallic nodules, and these results have been accepted by International Seabed Authority. We have done high resolution mapping, and we are also carrying out the environmental impact assessment. Extraction metallurgy part is done by one of our sister laboratory, CSIR IMM. So polymetallic nodules, polymetallic sulfide, and cobalt-rich cluster represent vast resources, and they are very important for the blue economy. In this direction, Government of India has applied for exclusive right in the cobalt crust, for cobalt crust in the Afanisi, Nikitine, and surrounding area. This is under review. Government of India has also applied for exclusive right for hydrothermal minerals in the Carlsberg Ridge. We are happy to tell that this will be the signing of this contract will be done within few weeks. And Geological Survey of India has also started for exploration and survey in the Indian EEZ for FEMN crust. And we have done something, but we need to do more. We should do geological and geophysical survey in the Indian EEZ, particularly for the RE-rich mud and gas hydrates. And hydrothermal mineralization, we have to see in a holistic approach in the Andaman subduction zone. Here I will conclude my presentation. Thank you for your kind attention. If you have any question, kindly do.
Thank you, Dr. for that glimpse into the helping us unlock the ocean secret. Mr. Pramod, please.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Mr. Pramod, please.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's a privilege to talk about underwater robots in this science summit. I would say that the oceanographers usually address two important questions: that what's going on in the ocean, and the solution lies in the observation. And there are many ways to do this observation, which are ship-based, remote sensing, or by divers. What I am going to discuss, talk today is how can we do a survey, or how can we look at and observe the ocean by using robots, to be more precise. And especially, I would talk about what instrumentation and technology in this regard we have developed at CSIR and IO. We started this by building a surface vehicle. Surface vehicle is a kind of a boat which is unmanned boat, and it carries the instrumentation whichever we want to do it, and we can give missions such that it can do lawn mowing or it can go from one point to the other point all by itself. While doing that, it would be able to perform the survey what it has been asked for. In this example, which you see is bathymetric survey, and especially it is very important from the point of view where the bigger boats cannot go and very shallow water survey has to be done. Also, it is very useful for the water bodies which are not connected to the ocean. Now, this vehicle can act as an extended arm of the ship where we can just drop them out of the ship and the ship keeps on doing its own work. But this, as given that the previous vehicle only covers the surface, and to go inside the water, to dive inside the water, we require a third dimension, and that's where the autonomous underwater vehicle comes into the play. We developed an underwater vehicle called Maya, and this vehicle is capable of going up to 200 meters of water depth. It has done several operations in the ocean, in the estuaries, by carrying different payloads like measuring dissolved oxygen in the water, chlorophyll in the water, CTD, light, and radiometers, especially the radiometer survey. And this was mostly the chemical and a biological vehicle, which was later on upgraded to do a geological survey of by using a side scan sonar as well. Now, this technology was transferred to a company, and the company is now in position to use this, to sell this, and to commercialize this. There is another development right after that we did, which is called fast profiling of the water column. There are many ways of doing a profiling which could be connected with the ship, but here is we used a thruster which is completely isolated from the ship, so it's independent of the ship's motion. You can throw this vehicle in the water. While it has all the sensors connected to it, it will do the profiling based on the mission which has been given. So you can give a mission, for example, I want to do every 1 hour a dive. And while it is keep on doing up and down every 1 hour to the prescribed depth, it collects the data and transfers the data back through the satellite. This technology has 2 patents, one in the US and one in recently in a European patent, as well as it has also gathered some innovation award. This technology has been transferred and it's already commercialized and has been in use by Atomic Research Center as well as the fisheries. How does it work? What this device is? It is connected with the motor. As soon as you start the motor, the vehicle goes down, detects the bottom, and it maintains a certain distance from the bottom using a hovering algorithm. And then once the thrusters is put off, the vehicle goes back to the surface and it transmits its data. It's very useful, especially for the pollution control board and many of those applications where you want quick report generated based on the sensors which you have connected. So as soon as it comes up, the report in a PDF form or in any way is ready for that. This vehicle was operated to 200-meter water depth in the ocean multiple times. It was not only that, it was also put up to a lake where it was doing 2 profiles a day every month for a whole 1 month and giving us the data about that. So motivated by this, it can we see that in the ocean there is a big data gap during the monsoon because that's when the boats and the ships are very hard to go into the water in Indian waters. So this kind of profilers are very useful to study the motion, to study during the monsoon time. So what we did is we did a seabed resident profiler which sits at the seabed and sends the profiler on top. So this is unaffected by the sea state on the surface. And this can be programmed for number of dives, again, the same way, number of dives that it can do, number of profiles which it can perform. And when it comes on the surface, it transfers the data using the satellite, as well as it records the data into Insight. So this unit has been deployed multiple times, and you can see it gives us the data, which is like this. So this is 1 month of continuous deployment of at 150-meter water depth. And you can see how salinity, temperature, feel, and for the modeling purpose as well as for the for fisheries to give them the advisory. We have a deployment plan of putting this vehicle all along the coast in East Coast as well as the West Coast because of its a true nature that it can be there during the monsoon as well. Now, most recently, as was shown in the previous slides, previous presentation, that there is a vehicle which we developed specially motivated by doing a coral reef monitoring. Now, coral reef monitoring is something which is very important from the environment point of view, because they are considered to be, the first sensing devices for anything which happens in the ocean. So this vehicle is also an autonomous underwater vehicle, can be programmed to go up to 200 meters of water depth, and it is flat because it can carry many number of sensors, and it carries the mainly a camera system which can go over very close to the bottom, take these images, create the mosaics, as well as use this data to create area estimation of the corals, whether the corals are deteriorating there or they are increasing in that place, which will be done offline after the data is collected. Now, these robots which we built is not only for doing this kind of surveys, but also attracting more and more engineers and scientists to come into this field of ocean sciences. And that's where the ocean literacy comes into the play. And there we conduct outreach activities through our international collaboration. So in this, we actually do International Marine Robotics School, which we do almost every year, where the different professors and researchers participate from all over the world. And the students and faculties here get benefited, where we have hands-on. It goes for 7 days, where we have hands-on lectures, interaction, and things like that. We also have a long collaboration, which is one of the India-Portugal Joint Research Program, which has been running almost for last 20 years. Not only to the engineering student, we also extend this outreach to young students of schools, where we have developed a system in which these students can see live data from the robots which are operated in the field, and they can also control it from their laboratory. And there is a software and an application for the mobile phone which has been built on this, which can be used to control as well as receive the data. You can see how these kids are actually excited to see those data. We are now getting into bio-inspired underwater robotics as well, and deep sea, motivated by these problems which has been given for hydrothermal vents. We are now getting into the deep sea autonomous underwater vehicles. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Pramod, for that informative presentation. The future of ocean exploration is clearly being driven by these technological marvels. Now I invite Dr. Saurav Mandal, Senior Scientist, CSIR NIO. He will discuss about ocean-based renewable energy, focusing on tidal wave and thermal energy as clean and sustainable power sources. Dr. Saurav, please.
Saurav, you need to unmute.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here today. My talk is on ocean energy for a sustainable future. For decades, we have relied heavily on coal, oil, and gas to meet our energy needs. But we all know the cost: greenhouse gas emissions, climate change, and environmental degradation. The time has come to shift towards cleaner, sustainable alternatives, and the ocean offers a powerful solution. One of the most exciting aspects of ocean energy is its ability to minimize environmental impact. Unlike fossil fuels, ocean-based energy such as tides, waves, offshore wind, and thermal gradient produces little to no carbon emissions. India, with its vast coastlines and island territories, has tremendous marine energy potential. Institutions like CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography, is already laying the groundwork with feasibility studies and associated research and development. But we don't stop here. The future lies in integrated hybrid renewable energy islands smart systems where solar, wind, and ocean energy come together to power sustainably, even in remote or off-grid region. Across the globe, wave power is gaining attention as a consistent and untapped renewable resources. Global distribution of annual mean wave power is presented in this slide. Estimations are suggesting the wave energy alone could meet over 10% of global electricity demand. Regions like North Atlantic, Western Europe, Australia, and the Pacific Northwest of the United States have already begun tapping into this energy with pilot projects and test farms. Now turning into wind power. Wind energy has become one of the fastest growing renewable resources worldwide. Offshore wind, particularly in the North Sea and off the coast of China and United Kingdom, has shown how large-scale clean power can be generated even far from the land. The total global offshore wind capacity was at 83.2 gigawatt by 2024's end, with countries like China, UK, and Germany leading the charge. The seasonal distribution of wind power shows a clear variation across Indian maritime zone. During the pre- and post-monsoon periods, the southern regions, particularly between India and Sri Lanka, records the highest wind power, reaching up to 277 watt per meter square in pre-monsoon and 260 watt per meter square in post-monsoon. However, during the southwest monsoon, things change dramatically. The Central West Arabian Sea experiences the highest seasonal wind power, up to 876 watt per meter square. Overall, the annual average wind power peaks at around 316 watt per meter square and remains consistently higher in the southern part of India, making it a promising region for offshore and coastal wind energy development. Even though modern wind turbines can rotate to face part of India, making it a promising region for offshore during the wind farm planning. As part of a detailed study by CSIR power variation, where analyzed turbine half height level across 20 locations in India self-seas. These results served as key input for wind farm planning in the region. To maximize efficiency, turbines must be aligned with the optimum wind direction, typically 265° to 300° in the Arabian Sea and 165° to 235° in the Bay of Bengal. At some sites, this alignment can increase wind power capture by up to 79%. Notably, location 11 shows the best wind power consistency, and in southern sites, exploitable wind speed occurs 80% of the year. This slide represents the seasonal average wave power for the North Indian Ocean. The maximum average wave power 13.62 kilowatt per meter during the pre-monsoon, 7 kilowatt per meter during the southwest monsoon, 12.63 kilowatt per meter during post-monsoon, and 17.73 kilowatt per meter annually. During the pre- and post-monsoon periods, the highest power is found in the southeastern part of the North Indian Ocean. In contrast, during the southwest monsoon, the maximum wave power is concentrated in the northwestern and central Arabian Sea, as well as the Andaman Seas. One key observation is that wave power is generally lower in the Indian Self Seas north of Sri Lanka due to the wave shadowing by the Sri Lankan landmass. This slide shows a statistical summary of wave power variability over 20 locations across India's self-seas using percentiles, mean, and standard deviation. From location 1 to 9, half the year, the wave condition remains fairly consistent. Southwest monsoon brings stronger waves from June to August. During that time, high energy waves occur about 25% of the year. The wave power exceeding 12 kilowatt per meter. However, the median is much lower, around 4 kilowatt per meter, meaning that most of the year the wave power is actually modest. Location 8 to 20 shows much more stable wave condition, where the standard deviation is equal to or lower than the mean. Notably, location 11 stands out to the low variability and consistently high wave power, making it especially promising for the wave energy development. To establish an effective offshore wind and hybrid energy farm, both wind and wave resources need to be optimal. These slides compare two such promising sites, location 2 Gujarat on India's west coast and location 11 Tamil Nadu in the southern part of the Indian peninsula. The Tamil Nadu site demonstrates strong offshore wind potential with a maximum monthly average wind speed of 11 meters per second and a wind power density of 0.44 kilowatt per meter square at 110.8 meter, which is a turbine half height level. This is significantly higher than the Gujarat 0.26 kilowatt per meter square, making Tamil Nadu especially suitable for wind energy development. Both locations have favorable wind direction, around 280 to 285 degrees, ideal for aligning wind turbine efficiently. Both sites also show suitable wave characteristic. The mean wave period over 7.5 seconds and significant wave height around 1.5 meters, ideal for wave energy conversion. Both locations are highly promising for integrated offshore renewable energy system. The National Institute of Oceanography has also made significant contribution to tidal stream energy assessment. A new and improved set of non-dimensional classification limit has been developed for 471 tidal inlets across India, with 219 on the west coast of India and the rest on the east coast. Using a numerical tidal flow model, assessment were carried out for regions like Sundarbans and Goa. While Goa showed a moderate tidal current speed between 0.4 to 1 meter per second, and Sundarban region recorded speeds up to 2 meter per second, indicating strong potential for tidal system energy generation. Accurate energy resource assessment is critical for designing viable wave energy projects. However, due to diversity in wave climates and energy availability and conversion technologies, there is a wide variation in wave energy converter design. Optimizing wave energy converter for site-specific wave condition is essential. This slide shows the location-wise performance of a few wave energy converter technologies across India's CSIR. The annual energy production varies significantly, from as low as 4.83 to 14.19 megawatt hour for devices like Sea-Waste to as high as over 8,000 megawatt hour for large-scale converters like Wave Dragon. On the west coast, the highest annual energy production is observed at the northernmost stations, and it gradually decreases as we move southward. Interestingly, at station 11, the energy output picks up again, and then the production actually gradually increases from station 13 to 20. This highlights the importance of matching the right devices to the right location to maximize the wave energy extraction. Most of the energy converters are designed for the high wave condition, but for India's relatively low wave environment, it is crucial to adopt the technologies for maximum efficiency. This slide illustrates the impact of inclusion of an artificial step on the heave response of the wave energy converter buoy system. Our analysis shows the inclusion of artificial seabed indeed enhances exciting heave response. By optimizing the structural configuration and power takeoff damping, we can enhance energy harvesting. These analytical results align closely with experimental data from a two-dimensional wave tank. This study provides valuable guidance for designing efficient point absorber wave energy converter suitable for Indian waters. While ocean energy holds immense promise, several challenges lies ahead. High capital cost make initial investment significantly higher than solar or wind. Technologies like wave is still in their early stages compared to the other renewables. The harsh marine environment added complexities. Additionally, careful assessment of environmental impacts on marine ecosystems, sedimentation, and fishing grounds is essential for sustainable development. Unlike solar and wind, which are intermittent, the ocean offers a vast, reliable source of clean energy among India's around 11,098 kilometer coastline. Harnessing this potential through the Blue Economy Initiative can power coastal communities, drive industrial growth, and position India as a global leader in clean energy innovation, ensuring a truly sustainable future for generations to come. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. Mandal, for sharing that inspiring look at how we can harness the immense power of the ocean. It's a key part of our transition to a green and blue economy. Next, we will address the crucial link between our oceans and the global climate. Dr. VVSS Sharma, Chief Scientist and Scientist in Charge, CSIR NIU, Regional Center, Vishakhapatnam, will provide us with essential information on the topic, the ocean climate link, impacts, and insights. He will explain the critical link between oceans and climate, highlighting how ocean health influences climate regulations and resilience. Dr. Sharma, please.
Thank you. I'm going to take you into the how the Indian Ocean climate is being changing and what kind of impacts it has on the oceanography of the Indian Ocean. So here, if you look at the ocean and climate is being linked. So once we are increasing the anthropogenic gases such as the carbon dioxide, methane, or the nitrous oxide, they absorb the outgoing radiation and increase the atmospheric temperature. So this heat is taken up by the ocean, that way it interacts with the atmosphere and the ocean. By changing the heat of the upper ocean, then it exchanges the greenhouse gases because the warmer ocean have a lower solubility of these gases and vice versa. And increasing the temperature of the atmosphere would lead to melting of the either sea ice or the land ice, that lead to increase of the discharge of the fresh waters into the ocean, that would change the stratification and the mixing patterns, that will have a severe impacts on the primary production. And these changes in the temperature would have a severe impact on the monsoon and the monsoon precipitation underwater cycles. As a result of this, of the melting of the sea ice and so on, will have a sea level rise, which have a severe impact on the coastal regions, and increase of the greenhouse gases would have a severe impact on the ocean acidification. That will have a significant impact on the ecosystem, that will alter the ecosystem diversity, and then as a result, the migration of the living resources from the region where they are being available at this moment. Now, Indian Ocean is something unique compared to the other two basins because of the landlockedness of the northern side. That is why the sea surface temperature in the globe is increasing between 1951 to the present at the rate of 0.8 degrees centigrade, whereas the Indian Ocean is warming by 0.4 degrees centigrade from that of the global mean in the same time period. That means Indian Ocean is warming at the rate of 0.15 degrees centigrade per decade, whereas the globe is warming at a much slower rate at 0.11 degrees centigrade per decade. So warming actually stratifies the upper ocean. You have a nutrients below that. Those nutrients actually will not come so much into the surface waters, As a result, there will be a decrease in the primary production. You see here the warming is happening in the red zones, but the primary production is decreasing in the certain zones. But nevertheless, in the last few decades, about 1 petagram per year at this rate, the primary production decreasing in this region that has a severe consequential impacts on the fishery resources. As a result of the warming, we could able to notice that there is a melting of the Himalayan glaciers. There is the snow extent over the Himalayan glacier region is significantly decreasing in the past 5 decades, and this melting led to increase of the discharges of the freshwater by the Ganges and Brahmaputra. You could see here on the right hand side the blue regions, that is where the salinity anomalies on the negative side, that means more fresh water is being coming into this region. The fresh water coming from the Ganges and Brahmaputra were relatively basic in pH compared to the seawater with low CO2. So as a result of this warming and releasing of the fresh water, this zone would act as a better sink for the atmospheric CO2 than at this moment. This is a kind of a positive feedback to the climate change. Though increase in the freshwater inputs would actually rise the sea level, in addition to the warming of the waters. Now in the early 90s, you could see that the sea level is rising at the rate of 1.3 millimeter per year, but in the recent decade, which has been tripled even to the 4 times to that of what has been seen in the early 1900. So we have the tide gauges have been moved all along the Indian coast. We could see that there are few cities like Mumbai and Chennai and Kolkata, these regions, these cities seems to be in a much greater risk due to the sea level rise. In addition to the warming, we are the climate change or otherwise the anthropogenic impacts also raising the air pollution. If you look at the aerosol optical depth, you could see that the remote sensing aerosol optical depth is quite high or red in color over India and also over China. These are the zones, the highest amount of the aerosol pollutants are being produced there. They have do some positive and the negative impacts also. Now you know that if the greenhouse gases are increasing in the atmosphere, they will actually increase the air temperature by trapping the outgoing radiation. In case of the aerosols, they form as a thick layer in the lower atmosphere. They would decrease incoming radiation from the sun, resulting in a cooling. So now, for the past decade, actually, what we have seen is that there's a stringent rules have been passed by the country, resulting in there is a decrease in the air pollution. As a result, the warming is increasing. The salinity anomalies are increasing, associating with decrease in the anthropogenic aerosol content or the anomalies. So therefore, having the higher aerosols, they're actually leading to the cooling of the atmospheric temperature. On the other hand, these aerosols also carry some kind of a chemical such as the sulfates or the nitrates. The deposition of these chemicals over the surface ocean, they decrease pH of the surface ocean, resulting in the ocean acidification. As I told you before, the freshwater is actually increasing, resulting in the sink for the atmospheric CO2 of this region. But on the other hand, the increase of these acidic pollutants, which is making this region as acidic, and more CO2 is being formed there. So the sink part is actually decreasing due to the increase of the air pollution in this region. So therefore, the PCO2, which is being growing over the surface ocean, in the elsewhere in the globe, in the same latitudinal belt of the northern Indian Ocean, which is growing at the rate of 1.5 to 2 ppmv, whereas because of this acidic pollutants deposition and acidification, the growth rate is 3 to 4 times higher than that of what you could see elsewhere in the globe. So therefore, the PCO2 is increasing at the rate of 6 to 10 ppmv per year in the northern Indian Ocean. Now, we know that oceans are the significant sink for the atmospheric CO2. About 30% of the anthropogenic CO2 is absorbed by the ocean, which is about 2 petagram carbon per year by the global ocean. If you look at in the tropical Indian Ocean, the northern basin, which is the red in color, that is where ocean is emitting CO2 into the atmosphere. We call them as a source of CO2 to the atmosphere. Where the south of 15 degrees south, the blue zone, that is where CO2 is sinking into the Indian Ocean. So because the warming of the upper ocean, the source region is actually expanding, the sink zone is being shrinking down now. Nevertheless, as of now, the tropical Indian Ocean is absorbing only 0.2 petagram carbon per year, which is a 10% of the global ocean sink. But if the warming takes place in the same way, the business under the business as usual scenario, this sink may decrease further in the future. So we also try to see that what kind of impacts it has by absorbing the CO2 from the atmosphere or increasing the CO2 into the ocean, what kind of impacts it will have on the plankton composition. Several meso and microorganism experiments have been conducted. What we have seen is that the rate of increase as of now, what we have now, so that has a positive impact on the diatoms, especially on the west coast. Mainly the Ketocera seems to be growing much better because of the CCN effect will be boosted by increasing the CO2. Whereas in the east coast of India, where the microzooplankton, mainly the tintinid, seems to be getting benefited due to increase of the CO2. The atmospheric CO2 deposition is enhancing the diatoms, especially in the coastal waters where the silicate concentrations are high. Those regions which are influenced by the river discharges or otherwise the other regions, dinoflagellate seems to be getting benefited due to atmospheric deposition. Like in any other basin, the northern Indian Ocean also actually experiences some kind of a blooms, especially in the northern region. Green noctiluca blooms occurs due to the winter convective mixing during the winter period, somewhere between January to March. Similarly, in the northern basin, trichodesmium blooms occurs in the Bay of Bengal due to lack of nitrogen. And in the southern side, you have the red noctiluca bloom occurs here, where the upwelling takes place. And similarly, on the southern side of the southeastern side, the diatoms or the dinoflagellate blooms do occur here, where the weaker upwelling takes place. Because of the warming, the cooling actually is moving toward the north. So the green noctiluca bloom also moving toward the northern side. Same with the trichodesmium. Whereas the warming is actually weakening the winds. So therefore, upwelling in this region is getting weaker, and therefore the red noctiluca blooms and the diatom blooms in the southern zone, they are moving toward the equator side. So as a result of this warming, what we have seen was that south of 12 degrees north, that is where the warming is much more significant here, because most of the aerosols are there in the northern side. By then they come down, the aerosol impact is getting thinner. So that is why we have a weaker warming on the top because of the aerosols, stronger warming in the down. As a result of this warming, some of these fisheries like oil sardines or the mackerels, they are actually migrating toward the eastern side, northeastern side on both the basins. The warming resulting in the migration of non-availability of the food and the migration of these fishery resources from the top where they are available now. So in order to decrease the warming effect, we need to actually either decrease the release of the CO2 into the atmosphere or sequester them into the oceans. Several laboratory experiments are being conducted and also mesocosm experiments in the in situ, because certain zones, the major nutrients are actually controlling the primary production. In certain zones, especially upwelling regions, the minor nutrients like iron and zinc, actually they are controlling the primary production. By pumping the subsurface waters into the surface or adding the rice husk, which actually gives the potential source of the silicate, or addition of the iron or the zinc in the upwelling regions, we could able to increase the primary production of the biological sequestration of the CO2 into the ocean. We are still trying to understand what way this would have an impact on the oxygen minimum zones, which are existing between 100 to 1000 meters. So we are trying to develop the bigger phytoplankton so that they could able to escape through the oxygen minimum zone, will have a minimal impact on the OMGs. And also trying to look at through the seaweed culturing, because seaweeds are very easy to culture, and using the bamboo raft systems. So our colleagues and also CSIR, our sister laboratory, they are working all along the coast to try to grow these seaweeds so we can able to improve the CO2 sequestration from the atmosphere. The fishery resources in the Indian Ocean actually are linked to the oceanographic processes. Like if you see that an example, northeast coast of the India, that is where convective mixing takes place. Not so much of the nutrients would come up. That is where carnivorous fish like a Bombay duck actually dominates here. Where in the southern side, the strong upwelling takes place, so much of nutrients comes to the surface, many plankton do grow, where planktivorous fish like a sardine actually dominates. In the central zone, neither of these processes are intensified, so that is where fishery resources are relatively weakened. If you can able to predict the how these physical mixing is being modified, we can able to understand what way the fishery resources are being changing with the time and also with due to the climate change. So with this basic knowledge and in collaboration with our sister laboratory in COIS, we are trying to do identify potential fishing zone in which NIV is working on the science part of it. Dissemination part is being taken by the inquiries. Using the surface processes, surface parameters like a sea surface temperature, chlorophyll, currents data coming from the remote sensing, we are trying to identify potential zones where the more fish can be available. This information very rapidly is being disseminated to the fishermen so that they can able to harvest, yield actually more amount of the fish with little expenditure. And numerical models, for example, neither the regional or the global models do not have all these processes which have been mentioned now, like a land, ocean, atmospheric interactions, how they are changing, how they are modifying due to the climate change. Using our basic science is being studied in the institute and mesocosm experiments, these models are being strengthened, and so that the prediction and can be done much more accurately. These models are well available and can be adapted to the certain zones which have the similar orographic structures. And thank you very much for your kind attention.
Work highlights the urgency with which we must address climate change. Finally, to bring all these fascinating topics together, we will hear from Dr. Mandar Nanijkar, Senior Principal Scientist, Head of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, and of the Business Development Group at CSIR. CSIR NIO's technologies and services to the nation will showcase how the groundbreaking work of CSIR NIO translates from the laboratory to tangible solutions that benefit the entire nation. Dr. Mandar, please share your insights.
Mandar, please unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Judith. And as we have seen, the earlier speakers have spoken about what work goes on at the National Institute of Oceanography. I shall give you some of the insights of what other services the Institute provides and overall the expertise present in the Institute. Vizag and Mumbai. The most important aspect required for oceanographic studies is the logistics. Basically, oceans are not easy to explore if we don't have vessels. We have two very large vessels, ocean-going vessels, which have state-of-the-art laboratory to carry out research on all aspects of oceanography. It is well equipped with laboratories as well as equipments to do research as well as providing services. And we have around 380 staff, including scientists as well as technical staff who are specialized in various subjects of oceanography, as well as we have scholars and students, more than 400 in number, which provide us quite a good amount of support. And without them, the research work would be incomplete. So as we have heard from all the experts in the earlier talks, we do have a very good blend and balance of scientific expertise, which carry out basic research as well as applied research, and we provide services. Considering the expertise what we have, like marine instrumentation, biogeochemistry, past and present climate, as well as future climate, geochemistry of the sediments, molecular aspects. And by studying all these aspects, it becomes very easy for our scientific community to provide services such as ocean engineering, marine bioactive compounds, carbon sequestration, pollution monitoring, modeling, and carrying out environmental impact assessment studies, as well as marine technologies and habitat restoration. And we do cater other services such as capacity building, trainings, and workshops for all different stakeholders, local communities, scholars, students, as well as industry. We are running with around more than 30 in-house projects funded by CSIR itself. We have around more than 100 R&D research projects by externally funded agencies, and more than 200 projects are running which are of services, different services provided in terms of consultancy as well as consultancy services and Indian rupees. So so majority of our work, which is related to services, is to provide solutions for ocean-related problems, which industries have to face, or they have to have a solution to come up in any facility what they create, a waterfront facility or a offshore facility. So we provide planning and design parameters like bathymetric survey, seabed engineering, design parameters, which include waves, currents, tides, storm surges, and sediment transport. We provide a comprehensive environmental impact assessment study, which includes mitigation measures, monitoring plans, as well as environmental management plan and conservation plan. We do identify submarine pipeline routes. We design parameters for intake and outfall channels, as well as oil spill contingency plan. We do underwater inspection, including testing and LC50, LD50 for oil dispersants as well as drilling fluids. So what major industries do we provide our services to? Mostly it is ports, harbors, jetties, shipyards, oil and gas industry, offshore oil exploration, as well as power plants, chemical and pharmaceutical plants. We provide our services to several ministries like shipping, fisheries, hydrocarbon, environment and climate, earth sciences, and Ministry of Waterways, as well as state departments such as public works, biodiversity boards, pollution control boards, as well as maritime boards. We provide our services to strategic sector as well, including Indian Navy, Space Application Center, and Nuclear Power Corporation. So these are some of our specializations which our experts can provide. So basically bathymetric survey, a seabed survey, of high resolution profiling for facilities to be installed. We carry out seabed characterization, as well as we do sediment characteristic studies by collecting sediment samples using various equipments which are available with us. We also cater to other services such as satellite validation and ground truthing for all the deployed for ocean-related aspects. We also provide services for extreme weather events, including planktonic blooms or algal blooms, what we call, and coastal erosion, shoreline changes, as well as we do again sedimentary sampling for paleo reconstruction, as well as looking at anthropogenic and recent impacts. So we are also accredited agency, one of the accredited agencies by the Government of India to carry out coastal regulatory zone mapping. So a high resolution map is required for any small development which is happening at the coast. So a demarcation of how much the width of the shoreline is and the zone between high and low tide is to be demarcated at very high resolution. So our team is having expertise and carried out more than 730 projects all over the country to demarcate accurately the coastal zone, so that any development which is happening in the coast can get the clearance from statutory authorities. One of the important contribution what we have done is the demarcation of legal continental shelf, which is shown in the map here, where the Indian exclusive Indian economic zone is demarcated, which is one of the aspects required for exploring living and non-living resources which are legally available in the waters of India. As earlier speakers have told, that wind energy is one of the important and aspects as far as energy needs are concerned in the future. So we have done an exclusive offshore wind farm impact assessment study of the Gulf of Khambat near the coast of Gujarat, and end-to-end solutions were provided from the potential of energy being produced to the impacts and the mitigations associated with the offshore wind farm. It's the first ever study on the coast of India. We also provide services such as for recently, we can see there was a shipwreck of the coast of South India, MSC Elsar 3, one vessel accidentally sunk, and we are carrying out a comprehensive environmental impact assessment study as well as long-term study to look at its impact and monitor what are the changes happening and to suggest mitigation measures. Second, we can see there is a vessel called INS Guldar being procured by Tourism Department of a state from Navy, which is to be sunk as part of sustainable tourism and conservation of corals. So we are helping them to locate a proper location to sink the vessel, and all environmental aspects being taken care of while sinking this vessel, so that in the long term it serves as a coral ground as well as for tourists to enhance tourism, sustainable tourism. We also carry out services for sand mining being carried out in the state of Goa, where manual method is being used. So we can see that there is a map which shows the seismic studies being carried out, which show how manually the sand has been extracted, and the machine extracted by suction pump. These seismic studies are also depicted here towards the left. So this is legally prohibited. So this is the difference what we can see, what happens below the water, and we can very well decipher between these two methods and give solutions to the state. Some of the other services what we cater are the carrying capacity studies for the state of Goa and Maharashtra, where estuaries, how much pollution they can bear, and what are the impacts of these pollutions in different estuaries have been estimated, and accordingly the suggestions and recommendations have been given to the government, as well as we carry out studies on the accretion and erosion study of the coast and provide solution what kind of mitigation measures are to be employed so that the erosion is restricted and more beaches are made safer. We are also carrying out studies like carrying capacity studies for tourism. We all know that Goa is one of internationally recognized tourist hub, and we are trying to carry out the capacity of beaches, how much they can carry the load of tourism and related impacts. So as far as coral reefs are concerned, we all know globally coral reefs are declining at very rapid pace. And at present, the scientific community has no other solution other than to restore the reefs and to expand the reef areas as much as possible. So we are carrying out reef module deployment for the entire Orissa coast, where concrete modules are being deployed and they can act as enhancing the fishery resources of the state as well, because they are known as FADs, fish attracting devices. Secondly, we have carried out a project which is a unique project. It's of coral translocation. As we see that Mumbai is one of the rapidly expanding cities, and road construction has gone into the sea, where it represents or it overlaps the corals growing over there in coastal area. Before this road was constructed, we could translocate all the corals, live corals, and we got 90% success. And such type of expertise always help in conserving the corals, which are at critical level these days. So we do a lot of capacity building as well. We have international MOUs. We have other collaborations with many universities in the state as well as across the country and international, including private agencies. We do have experts which act as knowledge partners for different stakeholders. And we have an in-house program for doctoral degree, and PhDs are awarded. Around 50 have been awarded and 160 are ongoing. And we still have capacity to accommodate more 200 candidates. This is all across the PAN CSIR program. This is a CSIR program. We also have apprenticeship program where there are ongoing candidates undertaking this program. And we do regular trainings for naval officers, Indian Ocean Rim country officers, as well as for academics, bachelor students, as well as for coastal communities. ACSIR is one of the 9th ranked organization as far as Center for World University Ranking is concerned, and we are at 12th at the National Institutional Ranking Framework in the research category. We do have a students program wherein dissertation and internship students can enroll for 3 to 6 months. We have project assistant openings always coming out. So this is again PAN CSIR. These openings come out for the entire 37 laboratories of CSIR. So these are some of the trainings and workshops which have been carried out by the Institute. So we carry out for forest officers, forest services, for developing countries, as well as rim countries. We have students from colleges, higher secondary schools, as well as all the SAARC countries. So we do carry out diverse trainings and workshops and conferences for all type of stakeholders. So thank you all for your kind attention, and for any queries or collaborations and partnerships, you may contact the given number. With Dr. Ramaswamy Bansal, Chief Scientist, is the coordinator and in charge, where you can have communication. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mandar, for providing that excellent overview of how CSIR NIO is serving the nation. It's a perfect way to cap off our presentation. Now we have reached the interactive part of our session, the discussion and question answer session. I request the participants, if they have any questions, you can raise your hand. Before that, we have one of the question in the chat box. It's for Mr. Pramod Maurya about CBOT. What challenges or limitations are faced in the development of CBOT, and up to what depth can it operate?
Okay, thank you for the question, Judith. In terms of challenges, the most important challenge which oceanographers are facing is sustained presence at the sea. We want robots to be present there for a very, very long time. Now, CBOT has that capability. So far, it is not integrated where the CBOT can actually be docking inside and doing the survey all by itself. So that's the challenge which we are going to meet next. In terms of deployment, it is fairly easy. There is nothing much difficulty because we could just go on a boat and throw it into the water. Now, the question which comes to what depth it can operate, it can go, it is rated for 200-meter water depth. And in that regard, we are planning a field trial in Lakshadweep to go and take corals which are especially into a mesophotic zone.
Thank you, Mr. Pramod. I would request if any participants wish to ask a question, you may do so. You are welcome, Benedict.
If there is no more question, I think we should conclude.
So we can see if everybody can put their camera on and take a screenshot just for the record.
So if there are no more questions, if you all still have some questions, you all can contact the speakers. The emails are provided in the presentation. So this session is a testament to the ocean's enduring legacy and their critical role in shaping a sustainable future. I thank you, all the speakers, for their insightful presentations, and I invite the convener of the session, Dr. Nasim Thakur, to deliver the concluding remarks.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Judith. So in conclusion, today's session has showcased how India, through CSIR National Institute of Oceanography, is contributing to a sustainable and inclusive blue economy by advancing marine science, technology, and innovation. The talks and discussions have underlined the importance of ocean for climate, energy, biodiversity, and livelihood, and how research can bring real solutions for the society. You must have seen the strength as well as the facilities available at CSIR NIO for carrying out various technology development programs or providing the services internationally. So we warmly welcome continued communication for collaborations, partnerships in technology development, opportunities for technology transfer, and for availing our unique research services. By working together and sharing knowledge, we can strengthen global cooperation, protect our ocean, and build a resilient future for generations to come. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Judy.
Well said, Dr. Thakur. As we move forward, we will explore how collaborative scientific efforts can address the pressing issues of our time, from climate change to sustainable development. I would also take this opportunity to thank the United Nations Science Summit officials, Madam DG CSIR, Dr. Kala Selvi, Director CSIR NIO, Professor Sunil Kumar Singh, Head Stat CSIR, Dr. Ramaswamy Bansal, Dr. Yatendra Satija, and team, all speakers and participants. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
Thank you.